All right, welcome everyone. It is May the 20th. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. Welcome to Tech for Senior. This is I guess a 1.5 hour show. We've got a great show for you today. We want to welcome back Chris and Jim Gould from their great vacation and diving adventure. They're going to tell us all about it today in their presentation. So we look forward to that. I was listening to Leo Laporte this morning, and he was telling about his new HP Spectra 360 2-in-1 laptop that has built-in AI technology just released from HP. So I was talking to Hewie this morning, we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of hardware coming out this year that has built-in AI technology. So something to talk about. We'll be discussing that for a few more, probably a lot of discussion about that as well. Now, the other thing was, of those of you who, of course, read the Saturday newsletter, which of course is sponsored by the Glendora Seniors Computer Club and that great website, Geeks on Tour, and the Central Florida Computer Society. So thank you for those sponsoring our newsletter. You will have remembered that, of course, the big news is Google Fiber is coming to Las Vegas. So you'll be able to dial up just like Huey and I can do 1, 2, 6, or 8 gigabits of symmetrical download and upload speed. So that was big news coming to Las Vegas. So I thought you would be interested in that news. Uh, we of course we have a Thursday show as well, and we invite you to come and visit us on our Thursday show. The details, of course, are in the newsletter. It's not a Zoom meeting, so you can't come and just click the Zoom meeting and come in like that. We do it on StreamYard and broadcast it out to Facebook or YouTube. So the links are in the newsletter and how to do that. In fact, I even made a video out about how to do that so nobody gets lost. I think we're doing better, Huey, aren't we? I don't think we've had anybody that's been lost the last couple of weeks, but anyway, I think people are learning how to find us now. So anyway, did you have a good week? How did your week go? Unmute yourself.
Mute myself. It's more fun just talking to nothing. Anyway, it's been a busy week. I have ordered a new computer.
Ooh.
I have not quite reached my goal, and I want to thank everybody who has donated to the coffee fund for Hewie, which is on the Hewie.net website. For all those who have contributed, thank you so much. But I am still shy a few $100. And if you haven't and do have a couple extra dollars, please consider doing that. It's going to be a Dell machine, so it's going to be about 2 more weeks before I get it.
Excellent.
And then I got to set it up.
There you go. Well, we look forward to it. We look forward to it. And then you'll even get some light. Is it going to have lights on it that you can turn on?
Oh, yeah. Well,
there we go. We can see you.
Yeah, I got 2 of these things, and one of them just died. So I got the second one. I just put it up, but I just didn't turn it on yet.
All right. And of
I'll
course
charge you half price.
and of course we have Bob from Texas. Bob's on the road again, and he's calling in from Nowheresville in Texas, right, Bob?
I'm actually in a little town. If you're from New Mexico, you call this Camp Bell. If you're in Texas, they just call it Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Okay, less than 600 people. And I will not complain about my internet access at home again, because I found a place that has even less than I have. But things seem to work, as you can tell. So why complain?
And then, of course, we have Ray Baxter, who has the fastest mobile service in his home today. And he's just smiling there as he's sitting with his seatbelt on, which he's so happy with because he's just going like crazy with his 5G technology. Right, Ray?
That works very, very well. But I had a good weekend because once a year, the state of Arizona up in this area provides a day of taking in your recyclables.
Oh.
And they focus on, one of the focuses is on computer products. I could not believe how many cables I have that I'll never use again. I filled up box after box, so it was nice to provide them to an area where they now can be recycled and parts used again.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's good. That's good. And Bill James, of course, is in the middle of a bit of a weather turmoil, but he is hopefully going to get hooked up to fiber, which will be good news shortly, right? You've got it all completed.
Yes. And I fell heir to a Commodore 64 that's still in the box with a monitor and a disk drive.
Wow.
Oh, that might be
Oh.
worth a lot of money.
Well, I don't know. I haven't taken it out of the box. I don't have a clue how to work it. But
Send it
this
to
friend of
me. I
mine
used to
called.
be on a 64.
Oh, this friend of mine called and said that she was downsizing and she had this computer that she wanted to know if I could dispose of. And I told her I would, and I went picked it up, and I was surprised to find that it's practically brand new.
I bet you that's worth some money, Bill. I would be I'd check that out because it may be worth $100,000 or something. If it's a brand new computer, it could be. You could have won the lottery there. Just be careful before
I'm
you throw
more
it out.
interested in how it works, so I'm gonna fire it up.
All right. And of course, we have Chris and Jim Guld back from their diving trip. And hopefully you followed them along in their photo album that I've been publishing and letting everybody know about. So we're going to hear, I'm not going to go into it now, Chris and Jim, because you're going to tell us all about that very shortly. And I want to get the
Looking
show
forward to
started
it.
because we have a big show for you today and we want to get moving on this. So I'm going to, Bob, do you want me to play your security news update for you?
Here is my security news roundup for the week ending May 17th, 2024. Dell notifies customers about a data breach. Dell is warning its customers about a data breach after a cybercriminal offered a 49 million record database of information about Dell customers on a cybercrime forum. A cybercriminal called ℸ𝕝𝕝 posted the following message on the breach forum's site. The data includes 49 million customer and other information of systems purchased from Dell between 2017 to 2024. It is up-to-date information registered at Dell servers. Feel free to contact me to discuss use cases and opportunities. I am the only person who has the data. Dell's rebuttal: at this time, our investigation indicates limited types of customer information was accessed, excluding payment information and other sensitive information. I smell a class action suit coming up. Read more at malwarebytes.com. ℸ𝕝𝕝 patient health data stolen in cyber attack. Medical health care provider ℸ𝕝𝕝 has disclosed in a Form 8K that it experienced a cybersecurity incident involving some of the company's systems. ℸ𝕝𝕝 is a healthcare provider that offers mobile health services, ambulance services, and remote monitoring for patients in 30 U.S. states and across the United Kingdom. On its company website, it touts over 7 million patient interactions. ℸ𝕝𝕝 says it is actively reaching out to those individuals who had their data compromised in the attack. So far, we have no indication what the nature of the cyber attack was. Read more at malwarebytes.com. Baxter ransomware strikes 500 plus entities across North America, Europe, and Australia. The Baxter ransomware as a service operation has targeted more than 500 private industries and critical infrastructure entities in North America, Europe, and Australia since its emergence in April 2022. In a joint advisory published by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center, The agency said the threat actors encrypted and stole data from at least 12 out of 16 critical infrastructure sectors. Unlike other ransomware groups, the ransom notes dropped at the end of the attack do not contain an initial ransom demand or payment instructions. Rather, the notes provide victims with a unique code and instruct them to contact the gang via an .onion URL. Read more at ℙ𝕝𝕝𝕃.com. Microsoft patches 61 flaws, including 2 actively exploited 0 days. Microsoft has addressed a total of 61 new security flaws in its software as part of its Patch Tuesday updates for May 2024, including 2 0 days which have been actively exploited in the wild. Of the 61 flaws, 1 is rated critical, 59 are rated important, and 1 is rated moderate in severity. This is in addition to 30 vulnerabilities resolved in the Chromium-based Edge browser over the past month, including 2 recently disclosed 0 days, CVE 2024-4671 and CVE 2024-4761, that have been tagged as exploited in attacks. Update as soon as possible to be secure. Read more at ℙ𝕝𝕝𝕃.com. Apple and Google launched cross-platform feature to detect unwanted Bluetooth tracking devices. Apple and Google on Monday officially announced the rollout of a new feature that notifies users across both iOS and Android if a Bluetooth tracking device is being used to stealthily keep tabs on them without their knowledge or consent. This will help mitigate the misuse of devices designed to help keep track of belongings, the company said in a joint statement, adding it aims to address potential risks to user privacy and safety. The capability, dubbed Detecting Unwanted Location Trackers, is available in Android devices running version 6.0 and later, and iOS devices with iOS 17.5, which was officially shipped yesterday. Read more at ℙ𝕝𝕝𝕃.com. Go update Chrome right now for the 2nd time in a week. What the heck is going on over at Google's Chrome Dome, which is what I assume they call the place where they have all the Chrome software developers? Just 4 days after we told you about the latest Chrome 0-day security exploit, there's another one that needs yet another critical update to the browser. That's the 6th one so far in 2024. Once again, Google is recommending that users immediately update their browser to apply the fix, which was released on 5/13/2024. Update ASAP. Read more at PCWorld.com. Researchers uncover 11 security flaws in GE Healthcare ultrasound machines. Security researchers have discovered almost a dozen security flaws impacting the GE Healthcare Vivid ultrasound product family that could be exploited by malicious actors to tamper with patient data and even install ransomware under certain circumstances. The impact enabled by these flaws are manifold, from the implant of ransomware on the ultrasound machine to the access and manipulation of patient data stored on the vulnerable devices. Operational technology security vendor Nozomi Networks said in a technical report. Read more at ℙ𝕝𝕝𝕃.com. Google launches AI-powered theft and data protection features for Android devices. Google has announced a slew of privacy and security features in Android, including a suite of advanced protection features to help secure users' devices and data in the event of a theft. These features aim to help protect data before, during, and after a theft attempt, the tech giant said, adding they are expected to be available via an update to Google Play services for devices running Android version 10 or later. One new feature is Private Space, which allows users to host their sensitive apps in a dedicated area in their phone such that it can be hidden and locked with a separate PIN. Read more at thehackernews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Staying informed and vigilant is key to protecting yourself from phishing scams. These 18 tips will help you avoid becoming a victim. Please watch my video on that topic by following the link listed. Did you know? The word robot comes from the Czech robota. This translates into forced labor or work. You can find all manner of canned vegetables, but not broccoli. The temperatures required for canning turn it into an unappetizing mush. The theme song for the popular PBS show, The Magic School Bus, was performed by none other than rock and roll great Little Richard. They say love is the best investment. The more you give, the more you get in return. Thanks to Audrey Hepburn. And that's a wrap for this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks, Bob. Great work. Just to remind everyone, I put the link to the educational video in the chat. Today we'll be talking about Ray's also going to talk. I know you're coming up now, but Ray is also going to be talking in our educational video today, the evolution of watching movies in hotels. You did that a year ago. Remember that, Ray? It was great.
Oh yeah,
It was a great gate when we're going to play that. And Chris Gould is sharing your Google Photos and how to share Google Photos, which I thought was a good topic. And I'm going to talk about the one thing you need to do with receipts. If you want to know how to store receipts or what to do with receipts, there's a video about that. So that will all be coming up in our educational video today, which I put the link in. I also wanted to thank, we still have our coffee fund going throughout the year. And Harry Hauser made a donation this week. Thank you so much, Harry, for your generous donation. If you do have some money, if anyone has a inkling for a donation, then we're happy to take that at Tech for Senior. Thanks so much. Ray, take it away.
All right, this will be the first time I'm playing a recorded one, so let's hope I do it right.
All right.
Today, I'm going to talk about converting audio cassettes to digital, or in other words, preserving those one-of-a-kind cassette tapes. Now, who can remember when cassette tapes were king for recorded music? The initial use of cassette tapes goes back to the early 1960s, when it was used for dictation purposes only, due to tape hiss and poor sound quality. But by the early 1970s, 𝕂𝕀𝕂 tape noise reduction systems came into play, and that allowed cassettes to become a serious format for recording music. Pretty soon, many of us had home recording decks, giving us the ability to create our own mixtapes. The cassette staying power was impressive, as this format was still popular at the beginning of the 21st century. Now, one-of-a-kind cassette tapes are really what I'm going to be talking about today. If you still have any of those mixtapes around with the music of the day, probably best to discard them, as they can be easily replaced with the same songs that are now digitally available in a much, much better and higher quality. But what about one-of-a-kind recordings on cassette? Well, consider. Do you have tapes that contain the voices of loved ones no longer with us? That's truly one of a kind. Perhaps there are special radio broadcasts that you recorded where you might have been a participant, or knew who the participants were, or just where the topic is valuable to you. Basically, any cassette tape that is important for you or your family that you would want to have available to play with today's digital equipment, and perhaps for future generations to hear. Now, here's a true story. Carol and I recently joined a local genealogical organization and soon discovered they had stored in a cabinet over 100 cassette tapes that were recorded in the late 1980s with junior high school students as a class project, interviewing their grandparents about their lives in America. Consider these one-of-a-kind personal history stories that are only available on 35-plus-year-old tapes that are degrading every day and someday will be unplayable. Imagine how the 12-year-old student in 1988, who is now in their late 40s, would react today if they had the opportunity to hear the tape. I convinced the club's management to purchase a cassette conversion device, and I started the process by converting the first 20 tapes to digital recordings now saved on the organization's main computer. After providing instructions, other members are continuing the conversion process, and hopefully soon we'll have all of these tapes converted. Here's another true story. About 10 years ago, I inherited over 200 cassette tapes of various music-related weekly radio shows that were broadcast in the early 2000s. On these programs, in addition to playing music, the DJ would also provide historical background information on the artist and the recording, which is important to collectors like me. Some of us call it minutia. I've taken on the project of converting these tapes to a digital format so I can play them with today's equipment at home or when traveling. But most importantly, to preserve these recordings before the tapes physically degrade any further. I can now easily share these recordings with like-minded friends using today's technology that is not possible with an analog cassette. Now, the equipment considerations for cassette conversion to digital. Let me explain some of them. Some methods require connecting the player directly to a computer and then using a program like Audacity, that's an open source audio editor and recording tool, to create the digital output. While this will do the job, I don't recommend it because it involves unnecessary extra work and is more complicated than what I'm about to show you. The unit you want should have a built-in speaker, so you don't need to connect headphones or an external one to hear what is playing. An all-in-one unit is the best approach, and now I'll show you the three that I own and the one I recommend for such a project. So we're going to talk now, as I said, about the different types of conversion devices. So this one is a boombox style, and that includes not only the ability to convert the tape, but it has an AM and FM and shortwave radio installed. As I said, this allows the digital conversion to either a flash drive or an SD card. And the positive aspect of this unit is you're going to get more features than just the ability to convert cassettes to digital. But on the negative side, it's relatively expensive compared to other choices. So this is the description that you'll find on Amazon.com for this QFX-J boombox device, and it's $45 on Amazon. The second one is a portable cassette player and converter. And this one is a little less. This is $38.69 on Amazon. And as you can see from the picture, it looks like the old type of portable cassette players we all used to have. As I said, it's a typical portable cassette player, and it includes a micro SD card connector and additional controls that allows what is playing to be recorded to that card. Now, the positive aspects, it's a small size. They're easy to understand controls. It's a competitive price. It's a built-in microphone for recording. And what I like best about it, it has rechargeable batteries. So I never have to worry about replacing them, just recharge them when I'm ready to use it. On the negative side, due to the very small size, the micro SD card can be difficult to handle and work with. If you've used micro SD cards in the past, you know how tiny they are, and typically they are spring-loaded. So you got to be really careful when you're removing it, otherwise it pops out and then it's hard to find. And then there's this, it's made by the company called Philco, digital cassette recorder and cassette to MP3 converter. This one is only $29.99 on Amazon. The positive sides, it's a familiar style and size. It looks very familiar to the old-fashioned cassette players, has easy to use controls. It uses a flash drive for the digital transfer of the recordings. If there is one negative, it's that it requires an electrical outlet for power. Now, having used all three of these devices, this one is my choice. As I said, the controls are familiar, the size is comfortable. I prefer a flash drive over the micro SD card, and this was the lowest price. How to get done twice as fast? Well, use two devices. I have it set up in my office on a separate table, and while I'm doing other work, I'm allowing the recording to take place, and I do two at a time, so it comes through a lot faster. Here's a case where I'll do three cassettes, side A and side B, and then when I'm done with three of them, then do the process of transferring them to the storage device on my computer. I'll talk about that in a moment. So the simple process, I place the cassette tape in the player, make sure it's ready to play from the beginning. So I rewind it if necessary. Then as the tape begins to play, there's a button to press on the device that starts recording what is being played to an MP3 file on that flash drive or SD card. When the recording has been completed, I insert the flash drive with the SD card into my main computer and rename the file with an appropriate name. I always include the date of the original cassette recording in my new name for the file. I then copy the newly named file to the computer's hard drive or other permanent storage location. Now you may want to keep the flash drive SD card when you're all done in a safe location as your backup. I like to practice multitasking. So my setup, and I think yours, should allow you to start the recording process and then do something else while the conversion to digital is taking place. As an example, if you have a 90-minute tape, start the process and make a note to return in 45 minutes to turn the tape over. For each tape, there will be two recordings, so your new file name should include the words side A or side B as appropriate. Now, who likes to save money? I see everybody's hands going up. There are companies like Legacy Box that will do the conversion for you, but their pricing does not differentiate between a simple audio cassette and more complicated reels of film, VH, and DVD conversions. So sending them just two audio cassettes would cost $59.99 before any special discounts for the conversion to a disk, flash drive, or to the cloud. And in the future, I will show you how I've converted VHS tapes and DVD discs, and once saved to a flash drive, how they can be played on your flat screen television. So stay tuned. But for now, this is the end. Thank you for your attention. All right. It worked.
That's pretty cool. I'm impressed, and particularly, Ray, for if you had, like you were saying, a recording of family or friends or someone that's passed away. I mean, that would be really important that you can get that on there.
That to me is the best definition of one of a kind.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Impressive. Yeah. Thanks for doing that. That's really great. We look forward to your next installment.
Good.
Thanks a lot. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to undersea adventures. Undersea adventures. All right. We have Jules Verne, is it? Oh no, it's Chris Chris and Jim. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, well, we're almost that old.
All right. One of my favorite movies growing up. Absolutely.
I've been a scuba diver since I was 30 years old, 40 years ago.
What?
And Jim has been scuba diving even longer than that. And we want to share with you a little bit about our recent trip to the British Virgin Islands on the live aboard dive boat for a week.
Yeah.
And since we're always about photography, we are going to focus on photography. But since we know that a lot of you are not scuba divers and will never be underwater photographers, we're going to do a little bit of general information as well. So we went scuba diving in the British Virgin Islands. This is the boat that we lived on for a week with a group of 20 other divers. We belong to a dive club. There are lots of dive clubs in South Florida. We have belonged to one for at least 30 years. So we know a lot of people who are divers, and we all grouped together and went on this trip to the British Virgin Islands. We made a photo album. And I am a huge believer in start your photo album before you leave your house. Don't wait until you get back. I hear so many people that say, I'm going to have to spend 2 weeks to manage all the photos that I took during my 1-week vacation. And we never end up seeing them because it's too much work before they share them. So I say, make your album before you leave home. And by the way, if you did not get the link and were not watching our album during the last week, you can scan this code right here to see our Caribbean diving album. So you start the album right away. You know, I just took a picture from the Dive Boat's website as the first picture in the album. And then I got a link to the album using Google Photos, and we sent that link out to everybody that we thought might be interested in following along. Then you post pictures to that album every day, and people who are following along see that every day. I know there's a few people here that did, and I know that because I'll see your little faces. Let me show you how this works. So here is my Google Photos, and here are all my albums. This one is the album. Notice it says 112 items in this album. I guarantee you we took lots more than 112 pictures, but we don't want to bombard you with all of the pictures, just the best ones. I open it up, and at the top, we'll see here are all the people that joined the album, and we can see their names. And during the week, they're able to leave comments. So see how this one says 1 comment and 2 comments? The way Google Photos albums works, I can tell a story. I post photos, I can post text blocks, I can post maps that show where we went, and then more photos and videos. Here's the boat that we got on. You immediately set up your dive gear, and it stays set up all week long. Here are the 20 of us. The top deck of this dive boat has a hot tub. That's called a pre-dive. You get in the hot tub. And then here's some of the underwater photos. You can also have a video. Here is how you get into the water. You just sit on the edge of the Zodiac and you do a back roll into the water.
Gravity works.
And there were some wrecks. We had some fun times being able to pose on the wrecks. Lionfish, beautiful sunsets. And here's a little video that I made using Google Photos. And I took the video with the time-lapse feature on my phone so that so you can see what getting ready for a dive is like. Putting on the wetsuit is the hardest part, you know?
It sure is.
It really is. Okay. So
there's a process.
So you can look at this album anytime you want, all sorts of good stuff here. And all of these photos were taken with a phone. And so I want to, Jim now needs to show you how that works, how he takes his phone underwater. He took all the underwater pictures. I only take above water ones.
Yeah, okay. So I have this underwater housing that I bought, and it's called a dive Volk. And The model is a C-Touch 4 Max, and it is waterproof down to over 300 feet. That's a lot deeper than I'm going to go. It'll work with a bunch of different camera phones. Each phone needs its own insert in order for this to work properly. So you put your phone into the insert. The cool thing about these is it runs everything that's on your phone. You can even use this, put it in the phone, put it in the holder, and clamp it down. It's really easy to do. It has these screws, only 2 screws. And on the back, it has all of the controls, and it is touch sensitive. So you don't have to have a special app with buttons, place where leaks can happen. It's a $700 camera. You don't want it to leak. It comes standard with Samsung and iPhone inserts. I had to get a special one for my Pixel camera because there's not that many of them, but they 3D print it for you. It's really cool. So the insert goes on there, and you get these pictures that are just phenomenal. We got some pictures that I just couldn't believe, and we're gonna.
But the cool thing about this housing, that's what they call it, an underwater housing for a camera, or in this case a phone, is that it's this gel type of surface so that it does transfer the touch sensitive.
Right. And when you come to the surface, it could be an emergency telephone if you want it to be.
You use it
because
like your phone.
You have to be at the surface. It does not work underwater. It does not get GPS. It does not do any of that kind of stuff
Underwater.
But if you have a compass, that will work because it's a magnetometer that's doing it and not a radio. So get one.
If you're going to go diving.
If you're going to go diving, you can get all kinds of accessories for it to put on lights and filters and macro lenses and all kinds of stuff.
But you don't need to.
But look at these pictures. They're gorgeous. And why are they looking so good, Chris?
Okay. There's a trick here.
There is a trick, and Chris knows what it is.
There's an app, because when you're underwater, there's not enough light to get the full spectrum of colors. Everything looks kind of overall green or overall blue like this. We found this app that with just one tap, it color corrects the photo. Let me show you a few other examples. So here's a photo of an angelfish. It looks all green. One tap with the Dive Plus app, and that's what it looks like. Now, I've tried using Snapseed and doing multiple edits and trying to fix. I cannot make that original look this good. And here's another original, all green cast. There it is after one tap with Dive Plus. Here's me and a turtle. Do you even see the turtle? Now you do.
Wow.
Now I also, after doing the color correction with Dive Plus, brought it into Google Photos and did a crop and enhance. But the main thing, the color, and it will even do video. So this is a squid. They're really cool creatures, but he looks all blue and green. Here it is after one tap in Dive Plus. So let me show you on the phone. Now, Dive Plus is an app, so it means your photos must be on your phone, which is why it's so cool that Jim takes the photos with his phone. So Dive Plus is available. Dive Plus is this little blue app, and you have to first tell it whether you want to work with underwater photo or video. I tap photo, and I have my examples here. Here is the one of me with the turtle, and it's just one tap, restore color. Done. and I would just save it. And another one, here is that angelfish looking all green. One tap on restore color. The color is just beautiful. And here is the squid, restore color, and it's just beautiful. And then the same thing with underwater video. And here is that, and I don't even have to tap anything here. As soon as I touch play, it says, oh, you probably want to restore the color on this. So it just goes to work. Is that cool or what? So that is the Dive Plus app. And if perchance you are interested, if you are a diver, then it's dive.plus is the website. It's an app available for iOS and Android. It's free for if you're willing to have a watermark on the pictures and you're limited to 8 pictures a day, or $26 a month subscription to have an unlimited number and no watermark.
Or $7 for 1 month. It was great. I love it. Try it.
And if you want to learn more about photo albums, you know, this is it for dive photography, but photo albums, we have a lot to teach you about. And it was episode 8, I think, of our Fun with Photos. You'll find those at geeksontour.com under our YouTube shows, Fun with Photos. And if you are interested in seeing our photo album from our trip to BVI, you can scan that code.
And that's it for us. Take it away, Ron.
Thank you a lot. Thank you so much. That's great. There'll probably be some questions in the Q&A. Moving on, I want to thank Hewie for making the next video. Hewie, I actually went, I was at his WinSig, his last WinSig, and I guess my training is lacking because everyone was talking about Belarc. In fact, Jolyn Bowler, who's a very famous computer technologist, who she says, oh yeah, she says, I put it on all the computers I have, and I thought, what is Belarc? I don't know. And then I installed it and thought, this is an app that everybody needs to know about and should have it on their computer. So Hewie, thank you for doing that, and thank you for making this video. We're just going to share the screen.
You play it, please?
Yeah, I'll play it. Yep. And
Yep.
we're going to talk about Belarc.
A user's guide to free Belarc Advisor. I'm Hewie Poplock. Belarc is an American software company. From their website, Belarc Advisor displays a detailed profile of your installed software, hardware, and security vulnerabilities in your web browser. It runs on most Windows computers from 8.1 and newer. As far as browsers go, it runs on Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Safari, Opera, and many others, including Brave. Once you download it and install it and try to run it, one of the first things that will pop up is this notice. Please note that the Belarc Advisor must run with full administrator privileges. No changes are ever made to your system or its settings. Click on the Continue button. So this is what it looks like when you're in the menu. You find the Belarc Advisor. You right mouse click on it. And when you do, you will get this menu. And then you click More, and you will see Run as Administrator. You want to click that. If you have a shortcut on your desktop, just right mouse click it and click Run as Administrator. We're going to speed up some of this next part, so let's get started. Let's run Belarc Advisor as an administrator. So we're going to right mouse click it and then click where it says Started Administrator. First, it's going to want to check for security definitions and make sure they're up to date. It checks and says there are some new ones available. Do I want to go ahead and do it? It says yes, and then the definitions have been updated. Then we click OK. Now it's updating the profile of this computer, checking for missing security updates, checking the security settings of the computer, checking the local network of the computer, and it gives us the computer profile. Once you run it, you're going to get a page that looks like this as an HTML in your browser. Now, because it's so much information on there, we're going to break it up into little pieces so you will see what information you get from Belarc Advisor. At the very top, it says the license associated with the Belarc Advisor product is for free personal home use only. You will see a watermark on each page saying it's for personal use only. At the top, you'll see system security status, and it will say there's no score for security, benchmark score, virus protection is up to date, and security updates. There are some things missing, and we'll show what that is. The computer profile summary shows the name of my computer, when the profile was made, the advisor version, and the Windows logon. Then we have 4 sections, the operating system, and it does say that it's Windows 11 Professional version 23H2, and it gives the build number. It gives the installed language, which of course is English, and when it was installed, which was 11/17/2021. The servicing channel is general availability, and the boot mode is UEFI. And under system model, there's information there, including the model of the Intel computer that I have, which is a ℙ𝕝𝕉𝕄 i7FNH. And it gives a system serial number and an enclosure type, which is a mini PC. Under processor, it shows that I have 1.6 gigahertz Intel Core i7 and i7 10710U. The 10 means it's version 10, and the U means it's US. And it tells me how much space, how much memory, 12 megabyte tertiary memory cache, 64-bit ready, and so on. And then under main circuit board, it tells me that it's an Intel, and it gives me the serial number again, and the fact that the bus clock is 100 megahertz, and it's UEFI Intel Corp. Moving down the list, it shows me the local storage. It shows that I have a 4 terabyte hard drive, and I have a 2 terabyte local storage free space. So of the 4 terabytes, I have over 2 free. Internal drives, I have a USB disk 3.0, and I have a Western Digital 4 terabyte drive. Moving down under users, it shows that I have 2 users and then a guest. On the right, shows how much memory I have. I have 64 gigabytes of usable installed memory on 2 different chips. Gives me the serial number of those. And the local storage volumes, it shows that I have 4 terabytes, and I have some FAT32 on that same drive of 107.37 gigabytes, which is the virtual Google Drive. Under printers, it shows several printers, although most of them are PDF printers. And then under the display, it shows I have 2 monitors, a Lenovo and a Samsung. Scrolling down, it shows me more information about bus adapters, virus protection. I'm using a program called ℸ𝕝𝕒𝕒 anti-malware home version. Under communications, it shows I have Bluetooth, and it shows that I have Ethernet, and so on. You can see what I've got there, the Wi-Fi. And then under multimedia, I have a digital video recorder, and so on. And then under group policies, I don't have any. And then other devices, it shows other things that I have plugged into the system. Okay, now let's take a look at the bottom where it says scroll to selection. Let's look at the next area where it says scroll to section, and we're going to take each one and take a look at what it shows us. This is the software license section where several of the software packages that are installed on this computer are listed with their software license. You'll notice that it's not a complete list of all of the software. That comes in the next section where it's the software versions and usage. In this section, there are several things we want to look at, but it is a very long list of all of the software that we have installed. It does not include the software keys or licenses, only the software that's installed and what version of that software. But you'll also notice that at the bottom, it tells you that if there's an I there and you mouse over it, and there's an I in front of all of them, if you mouse over it, you will see the details and you can click to see where the software is installed. If there's one little red mark, that means it was last used in the last 7 days. If there's 2 marks, it means in the past it's been used in the past 90 days, but over 7 days ago. 3 hashes means it was last used within the past year, but over 90 days. 4 little hash marks means it was last used well over a year ago. Any unmarked software lacks the data to determine the last one. Here is the complete list of all the software that is installed on my computer. So I'm not showing you the whole list because it would take us forever and you don't need to see all of that. Anyway, I just wanted to demonstrate that there's a lot of software installed that you're not seeing. The next section in the scroll to section is missing security updates. Some security updates and when they were installed, and then also the end of life of a couple of items. The USB storage use in the past 30 days, where I plugged in a USB stick or a card, each of them is listed there and the last time it was used on this computer. Below that is a network map of the computer. There's a lot of IoT devices that I have, including lamps and light bulbs and other devices that are not listed here. These are only ones that are part of the computer system. Lastly, the installed Microsoft hotfixes in the last 90 days. And then it lists some information at the bottom. The processor clock speed is measured at computer startup and on laptops may be impacted by power option settings and other notations. The Belarc Advisor is a free tool for personal use that builds a detailed profile of your installed software and hardware. It also assesses the network inventory, checks for missing Microsoft hotfixes, evaluates antivirus status, and provides security benchmarks. The results are displayed in your web browser, and all your PC profile information remains private on your local machine. Nothing is sent to any web server. It's a handy way to get insights into your system configuration. Thank you. I'm Hewie Poplock.
There you
Thanks.
go.
I'm sure there'll be lots of questions about that. We just have to move on. We'll talk about that in the Q&A. All right, I want to move on to Bob's done an excellent video now on circle search, and I think this is it's a short little video before we get to the music outro, but let's just see what Bob has to say.
Not long ago, Google introduced something called Circle to Search, but that was strictly for some Android phones. What if you could use that same feature in your Chrome browser? Let me show you how that's done. For this demonstration, I've opened up the Tech for Senior website in order to make this circle to search work. Let's go to the three-dot menu at the top right, select it, then scroll down and select Search this page with Google. Select that. When that opens, select Search by Image. When this opens up, this gives you two options. The first one is to drag an image to this little box or select it from your computer. The second is select any page area, and that's the same as circle to search. When I select the bottom one, select any page area, I now have two choices. If you have a touch screen, you can use your finger and circle something you want to search for. In my case, I don't have a touch screen, but I have the ability with the mouse to select any item. Let me select this one here. Once I've selected it, let go of your left mouse, and it comes up. Now, it'll tell you other places where it can find this image or images similar to the one you had circled. And of course, right away, it comes up with Tech for Senior for our YouTube channel and many other places that really don't amount to anything because they're not the same. But it did find one that was relevant. So this is how you use circle to search in your Chrome browser. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Bob. Very good. All right. Before we get to Ray's music, I just want to thank everyone for coming on our YouTube channel. Those of you who are watching over on YouTube, don't forget, we have our premiere educational video coming up at hour. And don't forget, we have a Thursday show as well. So drop in and see us on Thursday. Otherwise, we'll be here same time, same place next week. All right, so Ray, I'm just going to stop the live stream and take it away.
All right. Here we go. It didn't up. All right. So a week ago today, May 13th, there was an event titled The Music of Crosby, Stills and Nash. This was held at New York's Carnegie Hall with an all-star lineup of contemporary singers taking the stage to sing the songs of this iconic band. Now, this was the 19th annual Music of benefit, where 100% of the net proceeds go towards music education for underserved youth. Previously honored names included Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Van Morrison, Prince, and Paul McCartney. Now, Microsoft Copilot provided much of the following information. Crosby, Stills and Nash was a folk rock supergroup made up of American singer-songwriters David Crosby, he died in January 2023, Stephen Stills, and English singer-songwriter Graham Nash. They are noted for their intricate vocal harmonies, lasting influence on American music and culture, their political activism, and their tumultuous relationships. Now, the group formed in 1968, shortly after Crosby, Stills and Nash performed together informally and discovered they harmonized well. Their first album, Crosby, Stills and Nash, came out in 1969. It produced top 40 hits, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes and Marrakesh Express. Now, in preparation for touring, the trio added Canadian singer-songwriter Neil Young, Stills' former Buffalo Springfield bandmate, as a full member. The band's first album with Young, Deja Vu, reached #1 on several international charts in 1970. The group united several times and released 8 studio and 4 live albums. Crosby, Stills and Nash were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and all 3 members were also inducted for their work into other groups. Crosby for the Byrds, Stills for Buffalo Springfield, and Nash for the Hollies. Young was also inducted as a solo artist and a member of Buffalo Springfield. Now, Graham Nash, who's now 82 years old, he made a surprise and impromptu appearance at this tribute. And at the end of the concert, took the stage to perform 2 songs, including the finale, Love the One You're With, which is today's video clip. Again, impromptu. No, they just came out and sang. That was pretty special.
Thanks, Ray. Great job. And I want to thank you again. As I said earlier, I've been doing a lot of gardening in the last couple of days, and I plug my earbuds in, and I have my play YouTube on my phone, and I listen to Ray's music list, and it's got over 200 songs. To put it on random shuffle, and it's a blast. So I want to thank you again for doing that. And as we go ahead, of course, we add all your songs to that playlist.
I never knew it would be called Music to Garden By.
Yeah, right. It was great. Or it could be diving, it could be diving or whatever. It could be anything. It's just great. It's great music. It's all selected to sort of the stuff we like. And I think it's great. So I think we've had a great show today. Thank you everyone for participating. This is where we do open it up for Q&A. But just remember, before you run off, if you have not seen the selections that we'll be playing at ℏ these are in our premier educational video. There's Ray's going to talk on evolution of watching movies in hotels. Chris is going to talk about how to share Google Photos, which is a good topic because we just talked about that today, which is great. And I'm going to talk about all those pesky receipts we have. What to do with all those receipts. So that'll be coming up at 1/2. This is where we open it up for a Q&A. If you have any questions, put up your hand and let's have a chat. So we'll open it up now. Wasn't that cool? How many of you have Belarc? Hewie, I feel so limited in my knowledge. I thought everyone they all have it. You said you use it, and Jolyn said she used it, and everyone's using Belarc, and I'd never even heard of the darn thing. So could you make sure I have better education? Can you keep me up to date a bit better?
Well, yeah, we make sure you watch Tech for Senior.
and WinSig, and watch WinSig as well, right? Murray, go ahead. Murray, unmute yourself. Hi, Dorothy.
There I am. Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just put up my hand and say I use Belarc. But
you use Belarc, okay.
Yeah.
And Dorothy, do you use Belarc?
I have in the past, but I'm going to put it on my computers again. I can't get the Zoom isn't showing my button for raise hand.
Ah. So are you in Victoria? Are you there back home now?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, quite a few of us can't attend on Mondays because our senior center moved our classes from Tuesdays to Mondays, which is why we haven't been on there. So
okay.
But I did have a question or an answer maybe when you were talking about photo stacks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in Google Photos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it was doing that to mine and it was driving me crazy. So you can go and take it off.
I did. I saw that as an app. I saw that on my phone and I went into settings and I didn't realize it was an option to turn on or off. Yeah. I just assumed that it was always on, like it was always on, but it isn't. It's an option to turn it on or off.
Yeah, well, I turned it off and then it stopped stacking my photos.
So it is an option, which I did not know that. I thought it just automatically was there. So if you are interested in that, then you make sure you turn it on.
Yeah, just a quick question. I have the paid for version of Microsoft Office 365 and I use the Outlook. And I'm switching from my Windows 10 computer that's hard drive is failing to my Windows 11. I have it installed and it launches and it says it's receiving the email, but it doesn't remove it from my cell phones and tablets and to download it, which is what I want. And on the Windows 10, it does that, but the splash screens are different for each of the Windows Outlook when I launch them. So I've been trying to troubleshoot that for about a month.
Any comments from Outlook users? Any
Yeah, I don't use Outlook.
Yeah. Let's everyone. Carl,
Okay.
do you have an answer to her question, or is it a new?
New topic.
Okay,
we
hold
have-
on then. Just hold on that. Hold on that.
Hold
thought.
on.
Well, Dorothy, let's just let some people mull about that and think about it for a few minutes. Maybe we'll get some questions. Maybe Tim's got some answers for that. All right, Brian, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay, or is that lawnmower next
No,
door
you're
too
fine.
loud?
You're fine. You're fine.
I've been using Belarc for quite some time, and I just reran it again today on my laptop, and it identifies my operating system as Windows 10, but I updated it to Windows 11 months ago, and if I
Oh.
check my properties, it is Windows 11. So is there something I need to do to make it register the operating system correctly?
I have not seen that or heard that. Are you sure you're looking at the right answer? It's not an old one that you're looking at, is it?
No, I just ran it now, so I just
Okay,
exactly
so
what
when
I
it came
seen.
up on the screen?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll look at it later. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I know what I'm running. I'm just curious that it got it wrong. That's all.
Yeah, I that surprises me.
One thing I
If-
noticed about Belarc that's good though, it shows you all your keys for Windows and stuff like that. So any
Mhm.
applications you've got installed, if you forgot your keys, you can actually write them down so you have them for later kind of thing.
Right.
Actually, they tell you in there that it will show you number for your Windows, but it's not the actual key. And they do give you a link on their website and how to find your actual Windows key.
Okay,
So
cool.
don't bank on that being your key. You want to follow the instructions.
Thanks.
Murray, go ahead.
Yeah, I was. I wondered if he was using a what do you call it? Did he upgrade to Windows 11 from the? There's a way of doing it if your computer isn't quite compatible. If you
No.
use that, it might. Oh no, you did the ordinary.
It
Okay.
was a normal path from Microsoft.
And then I was just gonna. I had a little bit of conversation with Chris. She gave me the video for how the Google compression sort of works going up the load, but what she couldn't explain, she doesn't know how it happens, and I wonder if anybody knows how it happens. If I download an image from Google Photos the correct way, it comes out to something like let's say 300 kilobytes on the disk. And that's both on Windows and Linux. It does the same thing. But when I open it in any photo editor, it automatically becomes 6 megabytes instead of 600 kilobits. And instead of 3000 by 4000, which it is from the download, if I look at the properties of the downloaded one, it becomes magically 3200 by 4000, which is the size I uploaded. And instead of 185 DPI on the downloaded file, it becomes 300 like original. So does anybody have any idea how that happens? Somebody's talking or something?
So who's is there someone?
That's it. That's Bob.
Can't be
Um,
me. I have nothing going on.
It's always Jim Glass.
Right. We'll blame it on Jim. Sorry, Murray. I don't have an answer for that.
Does anybody?
Don't know. We'll.
Chris doesn't, who's the expert. I don't
Are-
think
are
any
you
of us.
Are you sure that you are looking at the file size and not the file resolution? I mean, it sounds like you are.
Oh, I'm
so-
looking at the properties and under the details. And on the one that I downloaded, it says it's 641K, and that it's 3000 by 4000 and 185
Oh.
DPI. When I look at the
Okay.
properties on the after I open it, in any photo editor, it doesn't matter what it is, it becomes 3200 by 4000, 300 DPI, and 6 megabytes, which 10 times larger.
I said, my only thought is that your hard drive has some kind of compression at work. That's
Yeah, but on
and-
different
but-
computers, on different operating systems, I don't think so.
All right. Well, Murray, we'll be working on it. We'll think about it.
If anybody comes up, figures out that one out, I'd sure like to know what it is.
Okay. Thanks, Murray. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, does anybody remember when
Steve
Belarc
Parker's got his
came
hand
out?
up,
Sorry, what did you say?
and he's muted.
If anybody remembers when Belarc first came out.
Do you know Hewie?
No,
Been
but
around a
it's been-
long time.
Yeah,
I know it is.
At least 20
Is
years.
that we taught it to RVers back in 2004.
Oh, it's at least 20
And-
years. 20
I
years.
mean,
When I-
It's been out for at least 2 decades or more.
I
20 years
remember
or more.
using it. I remember using it with Windows 3.1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been around a long time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mentioned in the video that it was 8.1 or newer. Actually, as I looked at it afterwards, it's 7 in Vista that it will run on the present version. So it does go back quite a ways. And that's the newest or latest version. So I would imagine some of the earlier ones would run on earlier versions. So
it goes
it's
all
been
the way
around
back
a
to
long
DOS.
time. Yeah.
It goes all the way back to DOS.
So it's a safe program. And as I said, I'm surprised I had
It's
never heard of it.
changed. It's gotten
It's changed,
better.
I'd never heard of it. Amazing, eh? Hewie, make sure I get better educated here on this stuff.
Oh, we'll try.
You're in charge of my education. All right, Carl, go ahead.
All right, show and tell. I said in the chat, I have a couple of digitizers also.
Oh,
They go back to 2001. It's 23 years ago. This is one of them, has a cassette, has a USB output, and it has a speaker. And then I have a little portable handy one here, and this by Ion. This one that I bought at local Meyer store was $38. I don't remember what I paid for the other one, but they're both at least 20 some years old.
Good.
I don't throw anything away.
Thanks,
I
Carl.
threw a lot away when I moved.
Drew, go ahead.
I just posted in chat the specific command for finding your OEM license key in Windows.
Okay, I see that there. That's great. Thank you so much.
You do it with just the PowerShell command.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Hey, Bill, that doesn't work on Mac, remember?
Oh, I have a thought for Murray.
Yes.
Because you said you would open the photo, the 300K photo in a photo app, right? In a photo program,
Like
and
the
then
photo-
export. And then export. Any chance that you're exporting that you have export settings that increase
No,
the
no,
size?
no, actually, before I even export, if I look at the properties in the photo editor, it tells me that it's 3200 by 4000 and 300 DPI before I do anything. If I look at the properties within the photo editor, it gives me those new dimensions, which are actually the original ones. Those are the ones those are the dimensions of the file that I uploaded. You might take a look at some of your photos and see if it does the same thing.
Well, that's what I'm doing, and I see one, but when I open it in the photo editor, it has the same dimensions and the same file size at 96 DPI. Now I figure if I can export it at a different DPI, and then the file size would change. But no, what's
mine before I even export it? It's just if I just look at it in properties, it says that it's the bigger file size. Now, was that file that you uploaded? Did it get compressed going uploaded?
I created it. I'm looking at a collage that I created in Google Photos. So
Oh no, that wouldn't do it. You'd have to take a high resolution photo and upload it using their compression, not using full resolution, but their the one that you used to be able to upload for free, and then downloading it from that and seeing what happens.
Listen, we've got a couple of more people who wanted to say something before we leave. We're running short on time. So Murray, I'm just going to move on.
That's fine.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, that program that corrected the color for the underwater shots, do you know what it was that it was doing? Was it doing a gamma correction, or was it using a different color space, or was it shifting
it's
it?
magic.
It probably uses a combination of tint and gamma and different probably lookup tables and stuff that you could probably get to eventually if you did enough messing around. But this is one click easy. I'm not even interested in what it does and
Or
how.
AI.
Yeah, it's
It
AI.
might be AI.
There-
I haven't really looked into
It's magic.
processes.
Basic.
I
Jim,
think
you
it's
get
magic.
Jim, you get the last word. Jim Glass gets the last word. Oh, this is scary. But he's not going to unmute himself, so we won't ever hear what he's going to. Oh, he did. All right. What's the last word, Jim?
Well, don't throw your pencil away. Anyhow, I'm having a problem with Google. I keep getting this message. It doesn't recognize my email account, but I still am able to sign into my email. And I don't understand what, using the passcode, but I can't sign in using the regular password.
Huh.
Any ideas?
And you're using Gmail?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll type it in. I'll type in my Gmail address, the first thing, type in your Gmail address, and it says it doesn't recognize the account. But I'm still using the account. So
Don't log out.
Right.
Yeah.
That does sound dangerous. I would go to account.google.com and go through their little security checklist and make sure everything is okay. Maybe change a password or something. Make sure that you keep access to that somehow. That's something to go through the process and figure it out.
Yeah, well, it's funny because if I go through using the pass key, it logs right in. But using my password with the two-factor authentication, I keep getting this, we don't recognize this email account.
Well, even with the pass key, you have to put in the email address first, don't you?
Well, yeah, you put it in, but then it's offers it as an alternative. And that works, but the password doesn't. It is really weird. Of course, that's me. I understand that.
All right, Jim.
I bet it's not just you.
Yeah,
Jim, change your password in the account settings to one that you recognize.
Oh, I would. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Not recognizing your old password because you probably forgot what it is. So change it to some and write it down so you won't forget it. Or use your password manager to remember it for you.
Well, he's saying it's not recognizing the account, but
Yeah, I've done both. I've done both. And the password for me is very simple to remember because it's something I used for 30 years in a different fashion.
Somehow it doesn't recognize it. Since it doesn't recognize it, change it to one that you know it will remember and you can remember.
Bob, it's not the password. It's saying it's not recognizing the account, which he doesn't even get to the point where he can change a password.
He's signing in with a pass key. That works.
So change
right.
So change the password when you've logged in with the pass key. Change the password.
Yeah,
that's what I would
dangerous.
do. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Listen,
thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Jim, let us know how it works out next week. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. Thanks all those contributors today. Thank you, those of you who are watching. We do appreciate you being here. Don't forget, we have our Thursday show on Thursday, and then we'll be back same time, same place here again next week. Have a great week. And don't forget Ray's playlist while you're gardening. Use it all the time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.